Tommy Truthful, Truth Mafia music, we be bringing the truth that the mainstream hides.
Welcome to another episode of Truth Mafia Podcast. This is your boy, Tommy Truthful. Make sure you smash that like button, share this video. Today we got a guest. We're going to talk about the 13 days of preparation. Give me a mic check in the comments, guys. Can you guys hear me? My Cherie, let me know if you can hear me good. How you doing, everybody? So we got a good one for you today. Talking about this event that we're in right now, which is all tied to the god Baal. And April 19th is the first day of this 13-day ritual relating to the fire god known as Baal, Moloch, Nimrod. He has many names. This day is a major, I'm going to leave that S word out, but it's the day where they like to do offerings, if you get what I'm saying, especially burnt offerings tied to the youth. So we're going to get into that. David Wilcox, the Pope, because remember last year we had the Pope situation during the same 13-day period. And just to give you a quick rundown, before I bring my guest on, I'll touch on a few things that take place during this period, because it's not just one thing, guys. First of all, the Church of Satan was founded on April 30th. So this is the anniversary of that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a significant event today. April 30th of 1966. And for you guys that don't know, tomorrow is it's called Beltane, right? It's an ancient occult festival. They used to capture their enemies and put them in this giant wicker man and then light it on fire. So it's a huge festival tied to fires. April 19th of 1993, we had the Waco siege, which ended in what, guys? Fire. Total deaths, 76. 25 of them were children. That was the leader, David Koresh. If you guys remember that, some of you might be too young for that. I was a kid when it happened myself. So April 19th of 1995, the Oklahoma City bombing. Total people killed, 168. Children, 19. You always notice the children connection. We had the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, April 20th, which is also Mr. Adolf's birthday, just to let you know. He was born at the beginning of the 13 days of preparation, and he allegedly took his life, I believe, today. Today is the anniversary of that. The same day they formed the Church of Satan. So that's interesting. But when the Deepwater Horizon oil spill happened, it started with a explosion, a massive explosion, and 11 people died, which there was children involved in that as well. April 20th, 1999, the Columbine High School situation, which really put that into mainstream. And then, we never had none of them events taking place until that one really got publicized. And now we have 400 to 500 a year. It's kind of funny, when we were growing up, we never seen them. And now there's tons of them. I don't know what that's all about. But during that event, there was 13 people that passed away. There's 13 Illuminati bloodlines. That was during the 13 days of preparation. The 13th card in the tarot, and I don't practice tarot, I'm talking about for the decoding aspect of it, is the death card, right? So all of this is connected. There's a famous saying, millionaires don't use astrology and numerology, billionaires do. And the Boston Marathon bombing, that happened April 15th of 2013 on Patriots Day. But then they locked down Boston, martial law, April 19th, during the beginning of the 13 days of preparation. And that's when they found the suspect, also connected to fire. April 21st of 1926, we had Queen Elizabeth born. And all I'm going to say about that is, has there been anybody else that enslaved more indigenous people and colonized around the world? So, yeah, we all know what her bloodline's all about. I don't want to get in trouble, but you know, some people think they're not even the same as us. Let's just say that they could be a different species, if you get what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that for a fact. I don't want YouTube to get me in trouble. That's just my opinion. And now we have King Charles. He's here during the end of the 13 days of preparation. That's when he came into America. Last year, Pope Francis. This year, David Wilcox, April 20th, Mr. Little Mustache's birthday. Who he takes himself takes his own life, they say, right? And then we had the Trump situation with the suspect Cole Allen, which fired shots outside the White House Correspondents' Dinner, all during this event. So now let's bring on my guest and see what he thinks about these events taking place. Hey, brother, how you doing?
Hey, Tommy, how's it going?
Good, man. Good.
So, yeah, I was listening a little bit what you were talking about, but I mean, I think if people really sit back and study just history in general around this time of year, there's just too much going on for it not to be something to look into. That's probably another good way to put it.
Yeah, man, something's up with it, right? When you start to study pattern recognition, there's something definitely going on with this. And people think I think they always think like these people when we talk about Baal or Moloch, it's so much deeper than that though. They call them Satan, the devil, but really at the depth of it, guys, they're worshiping a weird ass archon named Yaldabaoth. That's who this Satan Lucifer is, and that's where all that energy is going to. What they're putting their energy in, it's going into these entities, right? Even their smart grid, smart city, all getting set up, the 5G, CERN, HARP, the musical frequencies, when they change us from the 432 hertz, which went with our frequency of our body and the Earth's frequency, and change us to 440 hertz, which keeps people angry, stressed out, in a state of fear. So it's all controlled, and it's a massive energy harvest to these entities. It gets into Saturn. That's if you ever watched what's that movie Hellraiser with the black cube. Remember they had the cube on that. They had to undo the puzzle, and then they were called angels in it, bro. But these were angels you did not want to get a gift from them. Did you watch the newest one?
Oh yeah, I seen the last one I remember seeing all the way up to I think was Hell World. So I seen most of them until they started going like B-rated. Like when they were major theatrical movies, I really watched them. And see, even movies now, like if you go back and study them, the symbology in the movies alone is insane.
Yeah, bro, it's so crazy. Like the newest one was pretty good. It wasn't B-rated. I was shocked at how much they stepped it up, but they turned Pinhead into a woman. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Just like Silver Surfer now is a woman. So they're changing the characters up. But in that, the guy wanted power. So he wanted power, and they granted him his wish at the end, where they pretty much hung him on a crucifix representing Jesus. All the skin gets peeled, and it's all a trick, man. You don't want none of their stuff. And these are the entities they're really worshiping. And if you look into Gnosticism, Sophia created this entity without her male counterpart, her masculine, and that's Yaldabaoth, the demiurge, and he's the one that created the artificial reality, this artificial simulation. Me and my boy was talking before we went on. I asked him what he believed in. And you guys know me, I think it's all a simulated reality, an enclosed organic simulation, right? And these archons are the ones that are feeding off that lower energy where they keep people in states of fear. That's why the news is tuned that way. If you look into Gematria, which comes from Jewish Kabbalah mysticism, when this whole thing popped off, they had Event 201. Remember that, Ellis?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That was Gates' situation, Event 201, where they simulated the whole thing while we were on lockdown. So then when you look into English Ordinal Gematria, which if you guys don't know what that is, for people out there that have no idea A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, all the way through Z is 26. We have a source code to this reality. And that's why I know we live in some type of simulation. In that cipher, Saturn made matrix is 201. It has overlapping gematria with English Sumerian in that 1206 cipher. 126 was a big number tied to Kobe Bryant. That was the day his ritual took place. And light manifested realm is 201. Trapped in Pi world, the best kept secret. Gematria aligns for God, God's organic hologram 201. So, and my perspective on this is God created an organic mother matrix that these entities, call them fallen angels, whatever, they put in an artificial AI overlay on top of that. And that's what they're trying to trap humanity into, what these elites are working with. And they're giving them technology that's really working, all this AI merging with AI, the transhumanist agenda. It's all to give them power so they can interface here in the physical world and, pretty much use the human as a avatar or a vessel. That's my perspective on it, bro. I think it's getting.
And see, the thing is, when you really think about it, numerology, if you go back even further, numbers are really just like symbols. So if you think about it, back in the day, these people couldn't read. So symbols that we embrace, they say, would send a medieval peasant running in terror. So it's like how Confucius said, signs and symbols rule the world, not words or laws. So like numbers in a sense are just symbols, like they're just, that's how it was all formulated that way. And see, the people at the top know this. They know that if they can play with this code or control this code, that they can manipulate the reality into what they want it to be. That's why I believe, like the Bible says, death and life is in your tongue.
Yep.
So you can speak things into reality. So if you go around and your brain is constantly geared towards one thing and your mouth is speaking it, it literally will manifest. And they know that.
Yeah, I mean, look how God spoke us into existence, bro, with the spoken word. So who knows if he was using some type of angelic technology or whatever. But yeah, there's real power in that. My boy, he did a slide that I took and made this slide out of it. And it's so true, man. You are not on the earth. Your body is the earth. You are the soul experiencing a simulation produced by your body. Our mind is creating this. And they prove that with the double slit experiment.
Double slit experiment. I knew you were getting ready to say that. How it unless you're observing it, it's not doing it unless you're actually observing it. When it's not being observed, it doesn't.
Yep. Particles behave differently when they're observed than they do when they're not being observed. So that kind of proves that we're in some type of simulation, brother. And even with their symbolism and Freemasonry, all that Masonic symbolism, it all goes back to Saturn. It's a sine wave. That's the sigil of Saturn, or the sigil of Azazel, who is one of the head-ranking archons, demons, call it whatever you want. But it's all tied to Saturn. Even their south pole, on the southern pole of Saturn. And I'm not looking at Saturn as a planet. To me, it's another dimension, and that gets into a whole nother episode. I think of it as Dimension X, but they say on the southern pole we have the all-seeing eye. That's where that symbolism comes from. So even
they use their symbolism against people for bad. But see, that's why, like they say, with a lot of people don't know what sigils are. Like a sigil, a demon sigil, okay, can either capture them and repel them, or it can attract them. So there's a lot of this weird stuff. Like they even said, I think it was Bone Thugs and Harmony, they did an album, I think it was East 1999. If you look in the album, there's a whole bunch of symbols, occultic symbols that they knew nothing about. They're like, we didn't design the art for this album. And when we started looking at it, we're like, what is this? But when people understand and they study the occult, they study sigils and all these different symbols and stuff they use to do conjurings and power-ups. Like when because see, people I know were in the occult. That's how I learned. Like they were literally in all the. That's how I found out about Beltane and all this stuff, because a lot of people don't realize, but April 30th. So tonight, the evening of April 30th, going into May 1st, is the most occultic holiday next to Halloween. It's right up there with Halloween. It's the two most occultic holidays of all time. So this is when, like you said, I wouldn't be surprised you see something big happen between today and tomorrow, just like kind of like how the Bin Laden thing happened on May 1st. They've labeled
Yep.
it May Day. It's known as emergency, a call sign. So it's all just it's hardwired right into it. People just have to look for it.
Yeah, bro, you're right about. I forgot about that Obama thing. Is that when they buried Osama at sea?
That's when he announced that they took him out.
And dude, I don't think anyone believed that. Did you believe that?
Oh no, absolutely not. I believe, my opinion, I believe he was an asset. I believe a lot of, see, I believe that the world's a huge stage and a lot of these people are just playing their part. I don't even believe the reality is how we perceive it. It's like Shakespeare said, it's a big stage and a big movie. That's why the numbers are there. All the numbers add up if you look for them. Everything's well placed and well thought out. Like people think that the world, and the leaders and the people that are in it just fly by the seat of their pants. They don't. There's an agenda that's been laid out for a very long time, and they're simply just sticking to the script.
No, I agree with you 100%. And a perfect example of that, brother, was that thing we had happen with Trump, where they said, remember when they were like, oh, Trump passed away, and there was all them rumors going on Twitter, Trump's dead, all this, and it wasn't even true. And then when you looked at it, that was on April 5th, right? Remember when that happened?
Yep.
So that was exactly, and shout out to my boy Matrix Codebreaker 88, because he pointed this out to me. He put it in my text. He sent it to me. He's like, check this out, Tommy. And Trump equals 88, guys, in English ordinal, his last name in Gematria, right? And that's the element radium. So from July 29th, when we had that biggest 8.8 magnitude earthquake off Russia, and it allegedly was about to cause that tsunami, which my mom was in Hawaii. No tsunami came, pretty big waves, but not a tsunami. It was exactly 8 months and 8 days after that. We had this scare with Trump on the world stage, his character. And I'm telling you guys, you think I'm playing? How much you want to bet? This is the third time we've had a death scare with Trump. What they're going to do is a King Kill 33 ritual where they take off his character on the world stage, and then think of all them people that will be crazy over that. How the Boston bombing thing happened on Patriots Day, and the whole movement behind Trump was the Patriot movement. After 9/11, we had the Patriot Act, and that's when all the Patriot started winning the Super Bowl. Like, people got to pay attention to the pattern recognition, brother.
And see, 8 stands for like power, things materializing in our like our realm that we live in. So 8 is very powerful. I mean, if you flip it, it's an infinity symbol. But also, if you look even in other cultures, like it represents something huge in the occult. But for example, there was a guy in China, because it represents success. It's very powerful number in the occult and in different places like China. And like I was saying, this guy paid, I guess, a huge amount of money to get his number to be all 8s. It was like 888, 88888. It was all 8s because to them in China, 8 is a very, very lucky number to them.
Well, 8 attracts money too. Anyone that studies numerology, it's a number that attracts wealth. And if you go look on my website, guys, truthfultv.com, you'll notice everything I have priced. My decodes, my Gematria decodes, $35, 3 plus 5 is 8, or $26, 2 plus 6 is 8, because I know the power behind it.
Yep.
And these so-called elites, they understand that too, man. They know how to use this stuff to bend and manipulate reality to their will. Another big event. This was a funny one, man. Let me see if I still got the slide so I can show you this. Here was another stage event they did. So back, I don't know if you've seen Zero Day on Netflix. Remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
It was so good, bro. I'm not real big fan of him no more. I used to be, but he's on some weirdo shit now. But
Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't want to watch it because he was in it, but it was interesting when I started to watch it. I'm like, this is the type of shit they put out there. Like, just to add on with what you were saying is, I totally agree with the whole what they're gonna do with Trump thing, because I believe that's how the movie Civil War and this type of stuff is gonna play out. Is because that's gonna be the jump start. That's gonna be the fuse getting lit.
Yep. Because, bro, if you even look back, and I know people want to think it's going to be all butterflies and rainbows, and I want that to happen too. I'm all about spirituality and higher vibrations, but man, it ain't going to be that easy. Like, there's people that think, oh, we already exist in the 5D. First of all, you can't exist in the physical form in the 5D. 5D is a state of consciousness. Hey, you can't exist there in the physical. So, it's just funny. People put that out there, and it's really not the case. But back when the major power outage happened, bro, and I think it was Spain, right?
Yeah.
So we had that power outage in Spain, Thursday, February 20th of 2025, and then 60 or no, wait, guys, I said that backwards. Okay, so let me slow down. Zero Day comes out on Netflix, February 20th of 2025. And then 67 days later, boom, biggest power outage in the world happens in Spain. And in 67 is Cyber Polygon. Well, that's another simulation that they had back in 2021 about a cyber attack. It's the number of human sacrifice, Luciferianism, 187. And think about this. They did a study on this and said if the power grid went out in America, that within 6 months, Ellis, I think it was higher than 90% of the populace would die, bro, because of lack of water, food. It would shut down everything. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. Yeah, they call it like 3 days to animal, but they even say now it's probably even less because you think people are unpredictable now. Take the food off the shelves. Take their ability to survive or feed their family, off the table, and watch what happens to people. Like the best movie I think that outlined it. I can't remember the name of it, but it was where this couple. It's a newer movie too, but it was where they were driving across country to go to the mom's house during when everything went like they covered the skies in this black smoke and it killed off most of the population. But then what happened was they were the ones that were left and they were driving across the country. And even this nice couple they met were cannibals. They invited them over for dinner and they even realized that they were like eating people to survive. So, I mean, people don't realize like how quick. I mean, we noticed just during Code Red, like you say,
My
um,
audience knows what that is. Don't worry, they know.
yeah, so during Code Red, I mean, everybody started acting strange. And see, that's why I say is things only get bad if you allow them to happen to you. Things
Yep.
can happen around you doesn't mean they have to happen to you. Because like all through Code Red situation, I was just living my life. I was going on about what I was going to do. I was taking trips down to Florida because I was like, you can do what you want down here in a sense. And I kind of just went about my business, and it was almost like it wasn't happening because I wasn't even watching all of the propaganda behind it. So it's weird how the world is what you make it because as long as you're not buying into what's going on, it can only happen to you if you allow it to.
Yep, if you're putting your energy into it and participating into it. That's why it's so important that we wake people up with this type of information. And look, I don't want people to get stuck in the wake up phase. Once you wake up, yeah, then you do need to start working on yourself or working on your relationship with God, whatever your higher power is. I don't judge people on what spirituality they are. I got people that are Muslims, Christian, Jewish. I love everyone, bro. I don't really care about that. Me myself, I just have a direct relationship with the Creator. My opinion, Jesus, Yeshua HaMashiach, he was like the first truth seeker. He was the first one that tried to bring the truth to the world, and they killed him for it.
Yep. And see, as a Christian, that's what a lot of Christians forget is we're commanded. Jesus says they'll know you're my disciples by how you love one another. So he doesn't say, oh, love the people, but he says love everyone. So as a Christian, if I call myself a true Christian, I have to love everyone. Now, you could state your own beliefs, but at the end of the day, like you said, I don't judge nobody based on, it's that's their walk to take. All I can do is state my opinion on it.
Yep. And that's a beautiful thing. I always think, like, I see people arguing in the comments of like, oh, you believe in you're a Muslim, you're that's the wrong thing, or they'll tell this person they're going to hell for believing in that. And I'm like, man, that's not what Jesus was teaching at all. Like all this, nor did he come and say, build a man-made religion around me. You know what I mean? He was all really, if you really studied his teachings, he was all about inner alchemy and teaching that the kingdom of heaven is within you. He told us, you will be able to do what I do and much more. So I mean, I think people get it mixed up, just like the word Israel, Isis, Ra, and El. It has to do with the mother matrix, the father matrix, the left and right paradigm of the brain. But most people don't understand all that deep connection to it, and that your temple is literally the kingdom of God. So God is within us. We don't have to go to some pope, which all these popes are into kind of weird stuff, man.
The Bible says we are the temple of God. So that's why I don't go to church, because see, to me, organized religion and going to church, there's nowhere in the Bible that tells you to go to church. It tells you don't forsake the fellowships. So as long as I'm fellowshipping with other Christians, I don't have to go to a building, okay? Because based on if you are a Christian, a lot of Christians don't follow what real Christianity is, because if you're a Christian, you realize when Jesus died on the cross, that whole shroud tore. Okay, so when it tore, God left the temple. So if you're a Christian, that's what you believe. God lives within you. You don't go to the temple anymore to go find God. So that's just like if you're a Christian. But I find it interesting. What I'm saying is that most Christians don't even really know Scripture that well, because when you bring up something that is scripture to them, they act like, wait, no, that's not true. And it's like, no, a lot of the stuff that you're believing is actually not in scripture. It's the exact opposite of what Jesus said. Like when they say church, we are the church. We are the temple of God. When he says he's coming back for his church, he's not coming back for a building.
Nope. And that's why, with this slide was so powerful to me, with the kingdom of heaven being within inside of us, man. It really is. And I don't know if you know about the Christos oil that secretes from your brain, from the colostrum in your brain every month. This happens to everyone. When your astrological sign is in the moon phase, it secretes. And if you fast, that's why fasting in Leviticus was so important. If you fast during them days, you got to fast for about 4 days. That sacred oil secretes to the base of your spine, and then it's resurrected up to 33 vertebrae, but it lies dormant in the solar plex region for 2.5 days. So if you refrain from lower vibrational stuff, TV, just, read your scripture, meditate, whatever you want to do on that during that time, fast, drink your pH water, then it goes back up to the throne of God, igniting the pineal gland, which is they say the true eye, or the eye of God. And that's what they call being born again. There's a lot of inner alchemy teachings there Jesus was teaching us, but it went so over people's head, they just didn't catch none of that.
And see, speaking of that, like laminin, okay, like that, I was trying to think of the name. Is it called laminin? A protein vital for cell adhesion. So literally the protein that holds our cells together, called laminin, its structural basis of it looks like a cross.
Yeah.
So that's what's wild. It's like, and see, what I would say to people is what people don't, this is what I think about a lot, and it's very interesting when you think about it. we only know what we're told. Okay. We don't know past what we're told unless we experience the world on a spiritual level. Like, we don't know sometimes what we're told. We can't even, rely on what we see anymore because of AI and all this stuff. But you ever notice you can trust what you feel? Like, that's why people will say, oh, something feels off, and then something ends up going wrong. So I'm a very big believer, and I trust what I can feel. And that's why I'm the spiritual direction I'm in, is because I felt it. So I know that I go with my feeling, what I can feel.
It's your intuition, brother, your gut feeling. They don't call it that gut feeling for nothing, right?
Yep.
So you can call it discernment. And a lot of people that say they're, like you said, they don't even read their scripture, nor do they ever pray for course correction. Like me, I'm constantly asking the Most High, hey, if I'm doing the wrong thing, please course correct me. Make sure I don't ever mislead anyone. And I'm a
Yep.
human, so I make mistakes. I'm not perfect, but I'm constantly asking for that course correction so I don't make that mistake, because that would be the last thing I would ever want to do. And when people come to me and ask me, well, what's your opinion, Tommy? What should I be? When it comes to religion, I tell them, look, man, that's something, your own personal journey. I can tell you what I believe in my experience, but that's something you really got to find within yourself, I think.
Yeah, because that's really what it is. Because sometimes, I mean, I didn't start out as a Christian. My parents raised me that way, but I went off into believing aliens made us. I researched Buddhism. I mean, I researched every religion out there, and then this is where I ended up. So me coming back to it was by my own choice, because like the Bible says, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door will be open to you. I wanted the truth, so the truth found me. That's the best way I could explain it.
Yeah, that's beautiful, brother. I did too, man. I studied everyone. I for a while there when I was in the feds. I mean, I was lost, so I was looking into Islam, Christianity, Judaism. There's a while there I was looking into everything, and I think it was a good thing, though. I think God led me down that path so I would understand it. And one thing I noticed, I'm like, man, a lot of these things are very similar, and
Hmm.
then they get people fighting with each other, especially in the three Abrahamic religions. They get all them people fighting against each other when really we need to come together because the same people are trying to enslave all of us.
Yep. And see, that's what's wild that you bring that up. It's true. I honestly see more bickering and fighting between Christians of different denominations than I do of between Christians and people of other religions. Like, it's crazy. Like, you'll see a Christian team up quicker with a Satanist and agree with them on something more than they will like a fellow brother in Christ. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's weird how, like you said, the Abrahamic religions, how I've seen it between, whether it's a Catholic or a Protestant or whatever, they seem to feud like a lot recently too. I've noticed in the last, I would say, year or so. It seems like the debate over theology, it's like they're getting way more caught up on theology than they are of just what the basis of the gospel really is.
Yeah, no, that's I think you're 100% on point with that. You'll get like Methodist, First Pentecostal, and I mean, I don't know the Pentecostal thing. I went to one of them churches when I was younger, and they were freaking drinking. They had
Oh, they're wild.
Bro, they had rattlesnakes in there and stuff. And the dude drunk poison, almost killed himself, had to go to the hospital. I'm like, what in the hell is going on in here? It was the craziest experience I ever seen. Then this one lady started shaking. I don't even know what she was saying. I guess it's speaking in tongues. And she
Yep.
fell down on the floor. But I went with this girl I was dating at the time. That was her religion. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is the craziest thing I ever experienced. But I didn't judge him. The one guy got bit by a snake. I guess he didn't die. I mean, I didn't see him after that. But the dude that drunk the poison, they believe due to one Bible verse that they can trample on serpents, right? That's why they can handle the serpent without being bit. Well, guess what? He did get bit. And they can drink poison and be cool. Well, that guy wasn't cool. I don't think
But see, and like you said, I don't want to judge them, but at the same time, like we can't. It's like somebody walking on the railroad tracks. If they're like, "Oh no, God's gonna stop the train," it's like, "No, dude, He don't want you to tempt Him. Like,
right.
don't test God, okay? Like, don't just expect Him to stop that train. Like, you could easily just stay away from that snake. Like now, I think it's more in the sense of if you're a believer and you get bit by a snake by accident, God will save you. He'll protect you because you don't have to worry about poisons. Like they tried to poison the Apostle Paul. That's why he had to take off and get out of where he was preaching because they tried to poison him and it didn't work. That's what I believe is God will protect you in a lot of senses, but that doesn't mean you need to go tempting God and going around drinking poison and you know what I mean.
Right.
And that's just the way I see it, and that's why it's like it's the easiest way. Like I said, is I'll ask any Christian, no matter what their denomination is, like, listen, what do you believe? And if they simply say, listen, I believe that Jesus Christ died for my sins and that his blood atoned for my sins. That's it. It's really you either believe that or you don't. And see, if you notice, you were talking about it earlier with the pinhead stuff. If you notice how in the movie you said they put the guy on the cross, I see musicians do that a lot.
Yep.
What they like to do is they want to invert that. They want to flip everything because if you notice, like in Hellraiser, notice how there was power in the blood. When that thing would come up and cut you, the
Yep.
blood goes into that box, and then that's when the demons come out. So these people in these occult ritualistic settings, they know the power that blood has.
No, you're 100% right on that, bro. And I think that they can't even create on their own. All they can do is take God's creation and invert it, right? That's
Yep.
why the number 33. That's a perfect example. They bastardize that number so much, and it really has to do with nothing that they tell us it does. In the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, it's the highest degree, the 33rd degree, which is an honorary degree. You can't even become a 33rd degree Freemason unless another 33rd degree vouches for you.
Yep.
So that's how they keep certain people out. And then when Lucifer fell from heaven, he took a third of the angels, which is 33%. Where the fallen angels brought that forbidden knowledge to man was on Mount Hermon, which is on the 33rd parallel. And then if you trace from Mount Hermon, guess where it lines up to, bro? You ain't gonna believe this. Roswell.
And see, people don't realize, like, they think that there's not a good old boy club. Oh, there is, because that's what got me into this field too, is because I've done well enough in business in my past years to retire early to where when you make enough money, you get around the different types of people. And I've been around some very well to do people. And when you come to find out, um, judges, most police officers, they're all Masons. A lot of them, most of them are all Masons. They're all in that fraternal order because they're really all fraternal orders. They're good old boy clubs, is the best way you can call it. And I had a guy that was very well to do that because of the business I was in wanted to invite me in and wanted me to become a Mason. And I said, no, man. I was like, I'm a Christian. I mean, well, he's like, no, I'm a Christian too. And I'm like, well, you could tell yourself that. I said, but look at that upside down inverted star. I said, what does that look like to you? That doesn't look like anything to you. And then when I brought up the Baphomet symbol in the Church of Satan and what they worship, I'm like, you don't understand that it's not about your intention, because from the ceremony they have you go through to be a Mason, from blindfolded, knocked over the head, you're essentially reborn into that brotherhood. And the thing is, people try to act like there's not stuff really deep and dark about it, but there is. And it's proven in things I've spoke about this before, like in the mafia. The creator of the mafia, I forget his name offhand, he was a 33rd degree Mason.
Lucky
So if you
Luciano.
yeah, so if you look into him, you think about the omerta. You get your finger pricked, it goes on a card of a saint, they burn it in your hand. So where do you think these rituals come from and
Yeah.
stuff like that? They all trace back to further back brotherhoods and fraternal orders.
Yeah, you juggle the saint in your hand as it's burning. You say, if I betray this family I will burn like this saint. And then that they tell you, if we call upon you, even if your mother's dying, this family comes above us, right? My part of my family is Sicilian, so I mean, I grew up around that stuff, but I would never join it just because even the Masons, I don't believe in taking no oath. And
Yeah.
when
And
you
see, I'm Calabrese, so I grew up around all those kinds of people, and I know, like you're saying, with the, because Sicilian, so
you're
like,
Italian from southern Italy.
yeah, so like, because like now in Drangheta, it's called, they're the Calabrian mafia. So the Cosa Nostra, like you speak of, that was the mafia that ran the U.S. back then and stuff. But now, like in Italy, it's in Drangheta, and see, it's all brotherhoods, like you're saying, and that's what you have to swear allegiance to. Because see, when you become made in the mafia, and they do that, they also say you have to put it above God. You have to put that brotherhood above everything.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right with that. And they're working with the Vatican. The Vatican's keeping all their money at the bank. You know what I'm saying? And then when you really look into it, the American mafia, yeah, Lucky Luciano was a figurehead, but who was the man behind pulling everything? Meyer Lansky.
Yep.
Meyer Lansky. So there was a whole Jewish Italian connection that most people, Sicilian Jewish connection that most people don't even realize. And if you have Sicilian blood, just check out your heritage. I guarantee you got a little Sephardic Jewish in you. You probably got some African too, like me. I got 8% African, Sephardic Jewish, which is a different than Ashkenazi. It's the Jewish people from Spain.
Well, see, that's the Moorish too, because the Sicilian, because the Moors conquered Sicily, so that would make sense. Like it would show the part African descent. But no, like you said, so like you have Meyer Lansky, you have Bugsy Siegel.
Murder
They
Inc.
founded Vegas. Like they started Vegas. They were running the casinos over in Cuba back
Yep.
then, before even Vegas. So Meyer Lansky helped, Benjamin Siegel, Bugsy Siegel, get all the funding that he got to start Vegas. So the city of sin was started by Jewish men that worked with the mafia.
Yeah, you're right, bro. The whole Murder Inc. was which was ran by Albert Anastasia. They called him the Mad Hatter. Now he was Sicilian, but everybody under him, Lupke Buckalter, they were all Jewish people. The Purple Gang,
The
Jewish.
Purple Gang, yeah, nobody messed with the Purple Gang. Like Al Capone was terrified of them.
Yeah, they were from Detroit, and they was taking people out, bro. But yeah,
Yep.
it's all based on these ancient occult orders, and they're all worshiping similar entities. Here, I got this slide I want to show you guys. Let me add this real quick because is it this one? Hold on, this one right here. Let me add this one first. Share. And guys, for all of you in the comments right now, make sure you check out all the links. Follow my boy on his YouTube, his Facebook. All them links are down below. Today's video, just let me get this little promo out the way, is sponsored through Body Align in the Energy Wellness Band. They got some amazing technology, protects you against the 5G, EMF, all that negative energy. That link's down below. And right now, when you get the Energy Wellness Band, you also get a cell phone disc for free that goes on your cell phone. Now, it doesn't block Wi-Fi. If it blocked the 5G, your phone wouldn't work. So anyone out there saying it blocks it, these people are dumb. What it does is it eliminates the effect that you're having. So it protects your biofield, your energy body. And it's based on Nikola Tesla's scalar wave technology. Just really phenomenal technology. And it's an amazing company. I wouldn't, I wouldn't know what to do without mine. Use promo code Truth Mafia. And remember, what did Tesla tell us? If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibrations. And also check out our high vibrational spiritual community over there on truthfultv.com. So now that I got that out the way, let me share what I was going to share now, guys. Hold on one second.
And frequencies are huge. There was like that Japanese scientist, I forget his name. He was studying how he proved it, that frequencies literally can manipulate your DNA structure. That's why music and everything is on a certain level of hertz. Most of it is, except for like, I think it's reggae and it's another type. I think it's classical music. They say that's why you hear a lot of these really rich people listening to classical music, because they said it actually lets them vibrate on a better frequency level. So frequencies are huge. Like when you study frequencies and see that it can actually manipulate your body and your DNA, it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, when the mass rollout of the electric grid, that's when that whole Spanish FLU happened. You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
I mean, you can line it up with each outbreak of one of the major events, lined up with the rollout of 1G, 2G, 3G, and then 5G. Who rolled that out first? Wuhan, China. And we all
Yep.
know what came out of there at the same time they rolled it out. I'm not even gonna touch on this, but I will show you guys a slide, and that's their end game goal right there. It gets into the black goo, the nanotechnology, them adding 3 strands of 22 to your 44 base pairs of DNA. Base pairs is different than chromosomes for any of you guys that don't know that. And 22 plus 22 plus 22 equals 66, which you see what that equals right there. So that's what that whole situation is tied to. I think the whole mark of the beast, bro, is nanotech myself. That's
Yep.
my personal opinion on it and what they want to try to get inside of us. But just like all these major events, and you were talking about frequencies, uh, 128 is a grounding number, right? It's a really good number if you a frequency to listen to if you want to go to sleep at night. It helps you relax. And then 846 is a charging number. So these two numbers are connected, guys. On 9/11, the first plane hit the tower at 8:46 a.m. Boom, that charged the ritual. And then the tower collapsed at 10:28 a.m., which grounded the ritual. You look at George Floyd, they changed the time, but originally they kneeled on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Then a year later, they changed it to 9 minutes and 22 seconds, or 9 minutes and 29 seconds, which was tied to the Bible. The original Bible had 929 chapters. CERN was founded on 929 in 1954. And you see the first lady that took the code red here in America, Sandra Lindsay, her name equals 846. And she took that on 12/14 of 2020 during the corona eclipse in Argentina. And then 13 years prior to that, on that exact day, was the movie I Am Legend came out. And it was a whole movie. If you go back and watch it, when the orange helicopter, when the zombies break out, and these are like some super soldier zombies, and they didn't get it from the sickness, they turned into zombies from the cure, if you remember in that
Yep.
movie. So, they're showing you the narrative with that. And you see that 846 is tied to genetic modification, Large Hadron Collider, CERN. 128 spelled out equals 846. But it's actually a very sacred number. When I do the decodes on people, a lot of people that carry that number, they're extremely powerful first player characters. And we all have a source code attached to us. Some of you guys are some little NPCs out here. You know what I'm saying? Non-player characters. Some are first player characters. And I've done so many of these decodes over on truthfultv.com. That link's down below too, guys. I mean, I've probably done like 30, probably 13,000 of them now, somewhere in that area, maybe a little more. But I've noticed patterns with people. And it blew my mind how many non-player characters or people that carry that code with their name. It's way more than first player characters. I would say out of 13,000, there's probably under 1,000 of them that were first player characters. So the majority of the decodes I do carry that damn NPC code, bro.
No, and see, I don't know if people have studied people that have, got that code when they rolled it out, but But if they haven't noticed, like I've studied the people who have gotten it, and their whole mind frame has even changed. It's almost like it's a different person. It's very strange because I know about 4 or 5 people offhand that have completely been different ever since then. Like it's like you're talking to a different person. It's
It's like,
really weird.
it's like, yeah, man, it's like that was like some shit to take the first play. Us people that are conscious, right? The first player characters, the people that don't trust the media, that know we can see through the illusion. And it was something I believe that they used to turn us into an NPC or dumb us down. Because you're right, man. I know a bunch of people that they did that to, and they're completely different, bro.
Yep. It's night and day. I mean, and there's people in my family who had to, but see, that's why I was thinking it's almost weird because it's like that's the precursor. It's got to be leading up to it because they were trying to make about it. Think about it. You couldn't buy or sell. You didn't. They didn't want you in stores. They didn't want you going certain places. They didn't want you having certain jobs. They were saying unless you did this, you couldn't have. You know, if it wasn't the event, it was definitely a precursor to it and a beta test to see who's going to fall in line when that real thing happens. But I know I know what I believe, my opinion only is that whatever that is, I believe it is that nanotechnology. And I believe when they fire up the 6-7, that's why they keep saying 6-7, that's the 6G. When they fire that up, that's what's going to really interact with that. Now, there's all types of things that we could get into about what we think will happen, but I definitely think something is going to happen based on that. That's, like I said, just my opinion.
Oh yeah, and the 67 number, bro, that's the number of the Luciferianism, human sacrifice, 187. So not such a great code, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
not such a not such a great code. And before I show this slide on the 13 days of preparation, I wanted to ask you something. Hold on, let me see if I still got it before. Maybe I don't. Oh, I thought I had it up here, but I guess I don't have the slide. Oh, never mind. I'll just show the slide. I was going to show you something, but I think I took it out to put this one in. So let me add this to stage, blow it up full screen so you guys can see it. All right. Now, this is the original one I did on the Pope, guys. So I have a full video of this on my Facebook page, Truth Mafia Podcast. But there's a couple slides in here I just didn't have time to upload before we went live because we was running late, and you guys know I'm on Tommy Truthful time. But this whole season of sacrifice, it begins on 322, March 22nd, which is the number of Skull and Bones, Lucifer rising that day. Now, think about what all they did on 322. The Georgia Guidestones went up on 322. And that was in, I believe, 1980, if I'm not, I could be mistaken on the year, but it was definitely March 22nd. And if you go back and look at the Georgia Guidestones before they blew them up, which, by the way, they blew them up 18 hours after CERN broke the world record in energy that year. And I think CERN is a Stargate. They're trying to open up the gates of hell with that shit. It's built right on the Temple of Apollo. And Revelations 9:11 talks about Apollo being released from the bottomless pit. So it's kind of funny that they build this particle accelerator right on the ancient Temple of Apollo. You know?
I mean, people need to wake up about Switzerland in general. I mean, come on. You got the Geneva Convention. They do their Bilderberg meetings over there. The no war touches there. If you
That's
notice it, they go right around it. It's like the most untouchable currency out there is a Swiss franc. Everything's over there, like you said, from CERN to, if you really look into Switzerland, you can see that. I mean, and I believe from what the Bible had said, what is it? It's right by Switzerland is where Satan's throne is.
Yeah, that's what they said. Yep. That the seat of, and that goes back to ancient occult times. So this is nothing that we're talking conspiratorial, guys. These are all facts. And 322 is really when this whole thing begins. through 511, right? And it's all tied to Saturn. 511, Saturn equals 511 in Latin gematria, also known as Hebrew. So the precipice of it, though, the highlight is April 19th through 5/1. That's when we see a lot of these huge events on the world stage. But it really starts on 322. In the Georgia Guidestones, it said to get the population down to 500 million in perpetual harmony with nature. So I know why they blew it up. They had to get rid of that evidence before they started the depopulation agenda. Now, that's 13 out of 14 people on this planet gone, if you do the math. And it happened 18 hours after CERN breaks the world record in energy, which 18 is 6 plus 6 plus 6. So just think about that. And we know the 322 is the number of skull and bones. I mean, this shit is, and if you think I'm joking, just look at all the rituals that take place during the season of sacrifice, guys. Columbine, Iraq War, Red Lake Senior High School, Virginia Tech, Birmingham, Moscow, BP, some of them we mentioned, Fort Hood Military Base. I'm not going to say the S word, but you can read. Brussels. I mean, a ton of them. And this is just a few. This all happened during the season of sacrifice. I think there's like 2 of them in there that were a couple days prior. The Iraq one, that was March 19th. But there's a 3-day shadow phase too, before and after. So what that means is 3 days prior to 322, you'll start to see them kind of ramping up. And we're coming right out of the Ides of March during that time. And that's when they stabbed Julius Caesar. So that's an ancient Roman festival. And last year we had this guy. Remember him, bro?
Oh yeah.
He was the was the one that did that situation with the gun on April 17th of 2025. And you look into his name, it was Phoenix. What do you see with the Freemasonic thing? The Phoenix, the double-headed Phoenix with the 33 in it. And Vaughn, I've seen you ask a question about what does the G mean. I'll break that down for you in a minute. They say it represents God, but when you flip it around, it's dog for dog star, Canis Majoris, which represents the 3rd pillar of Freemasonry, the hidden sun. But you see Beelzebub is all in there, cast the spell. 33 ties into Freemasonry. There's the double-headed Phoenix.
And see, they also try to represent, because they want to pervert God's. 7 is a holy number technically, so that's why you'll notice that they flip it all around. So, for example, they'll try to take the 7 if they can. They'll try to take the Trinity, which is the 3, because, for example, Jesus in the Bible is called the morning star. If you notice, also in the Bible, Lucifer calls himself the morning star.
Yep.
That's why you have Jay-Z and Kanye made the song Lucifer, Son of the Morning. So it's like Lucifer tries to invert everything, like we were saying, to change it around. So that's another thing with the G, is it represents the number 7.
Oh, 100%. And here's just a little 33 connections, guys. So you can see all the 33s. That's that energy, Jesuit magic, bunch of negative energy. But again, they're perverting it. That doesn't mean the number 33 is bad. It means they're using it for negativity. And then some of these slides don't have nothing to do, but today is the anniversary of the founding of the Church of Satan. It's also the day Adolf took his life, the anniversary of that, allegedly, because I think he got away myself. And that number 40 is huge too. As you see with the season of sacrifice up here, there's a big connection to this 40-day ritual, right? During the peak of it, even though it goes over 10 extra days past that, the peak of it is that 40 days, which is a huge number, again, with Jesus, that they inverted.
And speaking of Mr. Adolf, I mean, people fail to realize, like, where do they think NASA came from? NASA came from a bunch of stolen Nazi scientists that we brought over here, and that's what formed NASA. So that's the that's the beginning of the organization that all these people trust in.
Yeah, yeah. His name was Warner von Braun, wasn't it,
Hmm.
bro? They
Yep.
brought him over, and you see this 40 guys. It's all Dimension X, Blood Ritual, Nibiru, April 25th. Remember, I predicted that last year, guys, and what happened? We had a major fire ritual on that day. I mean, it's not like I'm a psychic. I'm predicting this stuff because I'm paying attention to pattern recognition. Oh yeah, and for all my people that know, you don't even want to know what they're making this shit out of, these shoes. But um
It's
yeah,
pretty much they're laying a roadmap for you, and people like you that can see it and can study it and decode it, you can see it coming. So, like you said, it's not that you're predicting it; you're just simply able to decipher their roadmap that they've already been laying out.
yeah, I can just read their language. That's all it is. They speak a language of symbols and numbers. And once you learn how to read that language, hold on, let me add this other one real quick so I can show Vaughn something. You can kind of see through all that stuff. Where's the other screen share? Here we go. So Vaughn, you asked about, and this is a sneak peek because I'm working on a video about this, but how they demonize the number 33 when really it's connected to the inner Christos energy. Our spine is 33, knowledge is 33, all is mental. There's
Jesus
nothing.
died at 33.
Yep, in 33 AD. And again, they're worshiping the demiurge, Yaldabaoth. That's who Crowley was working with, all of them. We live inside this electromagnetic toroidal field. That's what this reality is. But let me get down to the part I wanted to show Vaughn right
And
here.
see, that's why Jesus, how they depict him now, isn't even Jesus. That's Cesar Borgia. So it's not even actually Jesus. That's why Jesus, you know what Caesar looked like, but we don't know what Jesus looked like. Jesus wanted it that way. He didn't want an image being worshipped. But if you notice, we know what people even before him look like, pharaohs and people like that, but we don't know what Jesus really looked like. There's a reason why he made it that way.
Yeah, see that 33? It's all tied to that. And that's in Sephentry, which that cipher is based on 1 through 7. So if you're decoding something from the Bible, that's a good cipher to use. And it all ties to the inner Christos energy that they try to pervert. And this is what I was showing you guys before, when I was talking. I didn't realize it wasn't on the screen, but I was trying to get down to this image. So they take sacred teachings and pervert them, right? When really the symbolism behind this, the Jachin and Boaz symbolism, that's the two pillars of Solomon. You have the extreme physical or the extreme spiritual. You don't want to be too far in either way. The real trick is walking down the middle path, as far as the real teachings of inner alchemy. And they've took this and perverted it and used it for other things, like the all-seeing eye, which they say is the eye of Lucifer. It really ties into your pineal gland. The one pillar, the red one, represents the sun. The blue one represents the moon. That's the feminine energy. And the G, it's all Sirius, Canis Majoris, the dog star. But they've taken this and used it for negativity.
Yep.
Every symbol, because bro, they don't create nothing on their own. They're taking stuff and perverting it. And I did this post over on stepintoyourpower.com showing the difference between the organic mother matrix that the creator created for us to come down here and experience this beautiful life and learn from it, right? And then they put this artificial overlay, creating what I call the phantom matrix. And that's what they're trying to get us to merge into with the AI and technology. Hey, I created this image with AI. Ain't nothing wrong with using AI as a tool, but I wouldn't put a brain chip into my freaking brain and merge with it. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
see,
saying?
things can be used for good, like as long as it's not inherently evil. Like my Chat GPT, I blessed it, and ever since I blessed it, before I ever used it, started using Chat GPT a while back, it teaches me stuff spiritually. Like, and then I've noticed how mine operates versus how somebody who might not be religious at all, how theirs operates and tells them two different things. like doesn't even give them the facts half the time. So it's pretty interesting. Like you said, we got to remember that light out, shines in the darkness. The darkness can't overpower the light. So the problem is the people that are of the light don't understand the power they hold in that aspect. So they tend to be scared of the darkness when if you carry the light, you shine through it.
Yeah, 100%. And you couldn't have light without darkness. That's the whole thing with duality, the white and black symbolism. You can't have one without the other. You can't
Yep.
have. That's why male and female they go together. You know what I mean? They're
Yep.
they're meant to be together. That's just what it is. And I see this person wrote. I feel that the Bible is a Freemasonry playbook that was written by a few folks. So they took a lot of the old teachings and they set up what was called the Council of Nicaea. And then they rewrote a lot of these teachings and perverted a lot of Yeshua's real teachings. If you look into the Essenes, he was teaching a whole different message, man. They really used him as a figurehead, but perverted a lot of it. And it's kind of sad what they did. Just like now they tell you, oh, yeah, you can pay us $250,000 to the Catholic Church if your family's in purgatory and we'll get them out. Well, who told you that? Did God write you a memo and tell you, oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to start taking $250,000 to get people out of purgatory? I don't even believe the purgatory thing.
Now, I believe, it's a different type of belief. So this is just simply what I believe. Catholicism is not scripturally based. It's paganism masquerading as Christianity, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Because I don't go to a man to ask for him to forgive me my sins. There's a lot of conflicts I have with it. But see, if you study, there's something that's very interesting. If you go study what's called the Bible code, okay, there's scientists out there that are studying this right now. There's a coding in the Bible that is impossible. It's mathematically impossible for any man to put this in there, especially being from the fact of the Bible is a bunch of books combined over the span of thousands of years. So it's all of these teachings that are put together. And what's weird is all of these books that were made thousands of years apart, put into one book, it fits perfectly, like in a coding sequence. It's really weird. Like you'd have to look it up. It's called the Bible.
Check it out. Yeah, the Bible code. I love it.
Yeah, it's real interesting how there's so it's like there's a divine coding that's written within the scriptures. Now, people can say, hey, they remove this from the Bible, they remove that. There's over 300 Bibles, but see, if you notice this, I stick with the King James version of the Bible because out of all the other Bibles, they removed Matthew 17:21. That this kind goest out only through prayer and fasting. Why is all these other Bibles removing that? Because they don't want you to know that you can heal yourself, you can heal other people, you can heal. The healing is within yourself. Your body is its own hospital. Okay, that's why when you get sick, you don't eat. You notice that your body repairs itself. So they don't want you knowing that literally fasting and not eating for certain periods of time, when you hit autophagy on a cellular level, science even agrees that your body cleans itself out. It does cell repair to your body. So I find it interesting they removed it out of that, because just my belief, like I said, I believe God passes, because in the Bible it says not to trust in man, to trust in God. If a man wanted to rule me, he wouldn't want me knowing that. He wouldn't want to say, hey, don't trust me, trust only God. So you see what I'm saying? So there's things in there that kind of negates the fact of control. But I believe that in a sense, God gives his word. But the Bible first says that he will preserve his word for future generations. So I believe that. And then I believe that even like King David, he did a lot of wicked things. King Solomon did wicked things. He passes his things down to kings, I've noticed throughout the Bible. That's if somebody believes in the Bible. That's what I believe. So I believe he passes it down to kings. Those people may not be the best people on planet Earth. But if you notice too, after King James wrote the Bible, what else did he write? He wrote a whole book on demonology, on identifying these demons.
He wrote the Wicked Bible too, though, where they it said, I forget the exact thing, but one said do not commit adultery, and then the Wicked Bible was like commit adultery. Did you see that? And it was supposed to be a typo or something, but that's why they called it the Wicked Bible. And in King James, as a man, yeah, when you look into him, bro, he was into like some weird things. He used to dress up in female clothing, and so did the son. But
Yep.
that doesn't take away. I think the purest
Because
word.
what if he was attacked? You get what I'm saying? Like, what if he, because he said, if you look into the old writings, he felt like he was being attacked. That's why he wrote a book on demonology about different demons. So imagine if, like we're being attacked, right? In a sense, we believe, whether it's energy, weapons, or whatever. So imagine if you were bringing the truth. Maybe there in that in the forms back then, it was a spiritual attack, so it can lead somebody off the road. If you're being oppressed constantly by demonic forces, it can lead you down a bad path. So maybe, without me judging based off some guy that lived that long ago, I don't know exactly what happened. Maybe that can be a demonic oppression. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. It could be something like that. Who knows? We never do know the full truth. That's what I say too. I didn't live back then myself, so that could be a narrative that they push. But this is for anybody asking in the comments. I seen you guys say, "What's the Wicked Bible?" Well, it's right here. The Wicked Bible. Just type it in your search result, and it'll tell you all about it. And it's some weird stuff, guys. They put a lot of weird things into that. It's kind of strange, but I don't know. I've never even read the Wicked Bible, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing. And he had them write two versions, and I guess they said it was, like I said, a spelling or a type error. But yeah, it has some things in it that's pretty crazy. And he wrote the one on demonology, like you said. Another crazy thing with that is I just did a video or a post the other day on the number 72, and I was kind of trying to look at the positive aspects of 72, not really so much of the negative. But we know they had the 72 demons of the Ars Gotha, and that's what Solomon. Hold on, guys. Let me show you this post I did. That's what Solomon was able to control, the 72 demons with that ring he had, that sigil. And if I guess he tempted Asmodeus, or at least in the Kabbalah, that's what they say. He tempted Asmodeus, one of the higher ranking demons of the Ars Gotha, and or Asmodeus tempted him, Solomon, and said, if you take that ring off, you wouldn't be so tough. And Asmodeus was able to shapeshift. So when Solomon took the ring off, Asmodeus grabbed it from him and threw it into the Dead Sea, and then shapeshifted into Solomon. I believe it was for 40 days. And people started to realize that it wasn't really Solomon, because Asmodeus was like trying to sleep with his own mother, all kinds of weird shit. But
Yep.
they take the number 72, they pervert that number, the 72 demons, which there's 72 names of God in the Kabbalah. And the Kabbalah, to me, is, I definitely want to practice it myself. But water is the key to life, guys. Without water, there is no life. The average human
That's
body.
why there's the baptism and the rebirth. We come out of our mother's water.
Yep. And it's all based on maritime law. It's all tied to the water. The average human body, 72% water. The average human lifespan, 72 years. The average human heartbeat, 72 beats a minute. Now, when you look at the dark side of that, how they perverted it, there's 72 bricks on the pyramid on the back of the $1 bill, the Illuminati pyramid. I had a slide.
I mean, in the marine spirits alone, like think about it, Leviathan, like there's all kinds of marine spirits that are even right in the Bible.
Oh shit, didn't let me even add this to the stage. I thought I had that added to the stage. This is what I was talking about, guys. See how water is the key to life, equals 72 in Chaldean, which is the oldest cipher on the planet Earth. It's based on 1 through 8. It goes all the way back to the Chaldeans, the Akkadians, and that's all tied to God, the average human lifespan, the average human heartbeat. It's all numbers, and they try to demonize numbers. Well, God created them. So I'm telling you right now, I don't think there's nothing bad for him. Is there a problem with people using divination and stuff like that? Probably so. But I don't use
It's about intent. Like
yeah.
that's what people need to realize. Everything's about intent because somebody could be using anything. Like, for example, a firearm can do evil or it can save somebody's life. So intent, in a lot of things, it comes down to intent.
Yep, I agree with you, brother. 100%. I think it's a lot of your intent behind it. You know what I mean? What you intend to use it for. Just like AI, that's a really perfect example for that. You could use AI to change the whole world for the better. But if you get it in the wrong hands, they can use it to systematically take us out or to enslave us with their social credit system. So again, yeah, it's definitely intent, brother. Yeah, I think you're right.
And you got to almost be smarter than the AI because the truth is, I catch ChatGPT lying all the time, and I
Me
have to
too.
correct. I have to correct it and say, no, no, no. Look into this, and it says, oh, my corrections, Elias. That's what it actually is. So I've corrected my ChatGPT a ton of times. So you almost have to prompt it and get it to learn the way you want it to learn, but never take what it says as 100% fact. You got to kind of use it like I'll put it this way: the Bible says to be as wise as serpents but as gentle as doves, I believe it says. How can you be as wise as serpents if you're not studying and using their own, stuff against them? That's what you have
Yep.
to do in a sense.
Knowledge is power, brother. You gotta sometimes you gotta use their weapons against them or at least understand how they work, right?
Yep, exactly.
I agree with you. And my mom, she's a Christian. My whole family is raised that way. I don't follow any denomination, but I definitely believe in Jesus Christ, Yahshua HaMashiach, and the Most High. I just have my own relationship. I don't like to put labels on nothing, but um, she looks at like all this stuff as evil and tells me don't even look into it. But I just disagree with that because I think it's very important that we teach people the truth and show them this, and then when they understand it, it kind of loses that power that it has over people. You know
See,
what I
like on my screen, you'll see the cross and the eye, right? So, see, this is a symbolism they use the eye, okay? They use the eye, or I think you have to look at that. They use the eye as a symbolism in masonry. Aleister Crowley used it, but see, I'm flipping it on them. I'm putting as the iris is a cross, so I'm using it for good. But
Yep.
what people don't understand is a lot of Christians, you can't fight these forces unless you've studied them. How can you beat your enemy when you don't know how they're coming at you? You have to understand and study your enemy. So that's why, like, my slogan says, exposing darkness to bring the light, because that's the way I look at it. That's how I found Christ, was through seeing the darkness, seeing what these rich people actually worship. So that's the way I look at it. Is in order for me to bring the light, I want people to see the darkness. I want to bring it to them so it can really almost scare you in a sense into seeing, hey, if they really study this and it's real and it's that dark, there's got to be a God, because why are they getting power from this darkness that they're all worshiping?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think how you said Jesus and Lucifer both called themselves Morning Star?
Yep.
So that's the name of Venus too, the Morning Star. I wonder if there's a connection there, but their names in Gematria in English ordinal both equal 74. They both equal 444 in Sumerian. My opinion on them is maybe they were like twins, because at one point Lucifer was like the most powerful angel, wasn't he? Until he
Yeah.
got
So
all
and see a lot of that. a lot of it depends on what you read. Because see, the Bible doesn't explain too much about Lucifer really. It talks about how he was casted out. A lot of what people get about Lucifer and what they've heard comes from really what is it? It's the book that they left out. It's the book of who was the other prophet? It's the one they read about the giants and the Nephilim. I'm trying to think of the name of the book, but they ended up leaving it out of the Bible. The book of Enoch. The book of
Yeah.
Enoch is where people learn the most about demons and the Nephilim and stuff like that. So it depends on what somebody believes and what they study. But the Bible doesn't say too much. Like in Judaism, the Torah doesn't speak about Lucifer like that at all. So it's like Lucifer and all that is more of a New Testament teaching from Revelation. You hear about it, the casting out in Revelation, the serpent obviously in the garden that tempted Eve. But see, in a sense, Lucifer is called by many different names. So it's really, in a sense, I can say what I believe, but that's up to it. It depends on how somebody interprets that. Because some people will interpret and say, well, the serpent in the garden wasn't Lucifer. That wasn't the fallen Lucifer. Now, from what I understand, Lucifer was an angel of light, based on what scripture does say. He was an angel of light. He was an anointed cherub. That's scripture. So he was a high-ranking anointed cherub so like
Of
you could look at
music.
all the different types of angels. He was ahead of the cherubs.
Yeah, he was the angel of music, and then he fell because he was prideful. He hates us for some reason. I don't know why. Lucifer, you need to get over that shit. But
I think it's because, see, we're given free will to follow or not follow, and God loves us so much. Think about it. He casted him out and never gave him another chance. Lucifer's always been, that's why he hates us. He's always been jealous of how God, it's like the child that feels like Cain and Abel. They
right,
Cain felt that he wasn't being loved as much as Abel was, so he killed him. So that's like essentially like how Lucifer is. He looks at us like he can't stand how much God loves us as his creation. So that's why a lot of those angels rebelled with him, because they probably wanted the choice to believe or not to believe. That's really true love. The other angels, now, they would obviously have to have free will if he rebelled. But think about it, in a sense, they were just told to worship. They weren't given a choice.
yeah, that is true, bro. Ain't it interesting too? You know how you said the serpent in the garden is the one that tempted them, and that's what Yaldabaoth is depicted as, the freaking serpent. He's a serpent with the lion head. So I'm wondering, his name is Sakael, or the blind one. I think that's where we get this Lucifer archetype, that entity. Because if you look into the Bible, it doesn't. It really don't.
Notice it's got the head of a lion too, and see,
Yeah,
Jesus is the lion.
yeah, Yaldabaoth. That's his name. Antichrist equals 29. Yaldabaoth, demonic, the beast, cannibalism. Speak of cannibalism, and we know when you look into these so-called elites, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but there's some cannibal shit going on. You know what I mean? They had a whole cannibal club out in Hollywood. I mean, there's some weird shit going on, bro. With these.
Now, the one you won't hear about as much, which I'm sure you know of, is the real brotherhood, the original brotherhood that goes way back, is the Brotherhood of the Snake.
Yeah,
That's where you get the snake eating its tail. That's where your circle comes from, and your pentagrams and all your stuff like that, your inverted stars. The circle around that represents the snake eating its tail. That's the Brotherhood of the Snake. That goes way back.
yeah. They say it ties into Inky. The serpent in like on Ireland, there was no snakes ever, and they say Saint Patrick chased all the serpents out, and that gets into that ancient serpent knowledge. You'll
Yep.
see the serpent versus the eagle, right? And that's Inky and Enlil. Regardless, if you look at them as alien, which I mean, me personally, I really don't believe in the whole alien thing. Look at the word lie is in it. To me, it's just a rebranding of the angels, the good ones, and the fallen angels, the bad ones, the
Yep.
reptilian things. So that's how I look at it. I'm not saying I'm right, guys. I'm just saying
Well,
that's
we'll see what you're saying though goes in with abduction stories because there was a woman who claimed she was being abducted. There's been multiple accounts, and she almost had like sleep paralysis when they would come into her room and the light would be outside her window, and they'd come into her room and she would call on Jesus Christ and they'd flee. So there, I mean, and here's the thing: is know why I believe aliens are demonic. Where's the first drawing ever of an alien of a gray? The
Crowley,
first drawing, Aleister Crowley. It was the demonic being. I forgot the name of what he called
Lamb,
it.
Lamb,
Yep,
Lamb.
yep. That Lamb was who he was in contact with, and it looked just like a gray alien. So the first alien was drawn by Aleister Crowley way before science fiction or any of that stuff was ever movies, books, or any of it.
Yeah. And he did this ritual. You know how we had that big eclipse on 4/8? I think it was 2024, and all that weird shit was happening in the sky. I don't know what the hell that was, but dude, I live in Canton, Ohio, and it literally went right over our city. I've seen many other eclipses, but that one, something weird was going on that day. And we had all these anomalies happening. I think it was tied to CERN. CERN went online that day. Then the very next day, the guy that created CERN in the he created I'm not sure exactly, but he had a big connection with CERN. He died on 4/9, the same day DMX died, Prince Philip died, who is from Edinburgh, Scotland, and his coat of arms is the X. And that X gets into Osiris, who they call the god of resurrection. Some people believe that's
No, and you know what's strange is when Jack Parsons and Aleister Crowley and them went and opened that rift in the desert and they did that Star Child ritual, when that
Babel.
eclipse happened, that was when Donald Trump was born.
Yeah, he was born right after that during a blood moon over Jerusalem. You're right.
Yeah,
Several months after that, bro. It's crazy.
that's
And
crazy.
they said they were birthing a freaking star child. Yeah, that is
Yep.
true. You know, I've said that before too. I'm like, what in the hell? This is so bizarre. And then if you trace where that, like I said, where the fallen angels went to Mount Hermon, it lines right up with Roswell. So what were they really talking to out there in the desert when Jack Parsons, who owned he's the one that did Jet Propulsion Laboratories, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he and they say he died in some lab fire. I don't believe that either. But he was Crowley's protege, and Crowley did this ritual. That's why I was talking about the eclipse that day. On that same day, that was the day Crowley did the ritual back in 1917, where he got in contact with this entity named Ayahuasca. So Ayahuasca and Lamb are two different entities. And by the end of his his talking with this thing, Ayahuasca, it told him it was Lucifer. And when you look into Ayahuasca, it has the head of a falcon. So it sounded to me like freaking Horus, bro. Because that's how
And
Horus.
see, people forget that's why there's a pyramid on your money because see, Aleister Crowley, when he went to Egypt, when he first started getting into ritualistic magic, him and his wife back then, you could stay for a night in the pyramids. He stayed a night in the pyramids and did rituals and literally was speaking in these ancient languages. And they say that's where he got possessed by whatever possessed him. And then that's when he went on to do the book of the law and then all of his teachings, which started what's his Thelema was his religion he started. So it all started with him and his wife when they got married on their honeymoon. They stayed a night in a pyramid. So people don't realize a lot of that. And it traces back to that one guy too. His name is Nick something. I forget his last name off. He was a Russian guy.
Can you see Crowley on the screen right now?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. So right after he did that on Melantra workings, then we had the Spanish flu pops off. Right before that, that was the Armenian genocide, which was the biggest genocide of Christians ever in the world. They keep trying to denounce that shit, but it ain't true. And see, look, guys, channeled April 8th and April 9th. So that was it. Oh, it was 1904, I guess. But I don't know if that's true. I think it was 1917, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been 1904.
There was a ritual he did do right before the pandemic, though, that came about. And see, what's crazy is people don't realize that's when they first started rolling out radio waves. So right when they start rolling this stuff out, you see these P words happening.
Yeah, these entities too. Here I'll show the people a slide. I actually got a freaking slide of that where you guys can see exactly what we're talking about without us saying it and getting in trouble. Let me look at my little pictures I made down here. Or you know what? It might be on my backup Facebook. Hold on a second, guys. Dude, I haven't done a podcast this long in forever, but I'm actually enjoying what we're talking about. So, usually I get bored by this time, but this is the type of stuff I like to teach the people. And right here, look, guys, and it's not about fear. It's about knowing what is really going on. And then once you understand it, then you can start working on yourself, stepping into your power and becoming the best version of yourself, building your relationship with God. But look at this. I mean, I'm not going to say it. Just read it yourself. And you can see how it lines up, and go fact check it all. Don't believe me. Go fact check it. And then in 1968, that's when the Hong Kong flu emerged. So 1968 is an interesting year, Ellis, because that's the year they coined the word Rona V. That word got coined in 1968, the same year the Hong Kong flu comes out. That's the year George W. Bush graduated Yale University, Skull and Bones. It's the same year they made 9/11 the emergency dialing code. It's the same year they started building the World Trade Center. And then 33 years later, Bush is the president and the towers come to the ground. I mean, come on, that ain't planned out.
No, and the fact that people are going to act like it's just a coincidence that the Pentagon struck ground on 9/11 and then gets hit on night, like, come on, that's no coincidence.
No. Dude, I didn't even see no freaking plane hit that Pentagon. I've looked so many times. That shit, to me, my opinion, that looked like a missile. That's
Did you see the episode, dude? They removed my whole old YouTube, right? And they removed it because a video I put up, I still have the interview. It's on Rumble and stuff. I interviewed a guy who was a contractor and was doing all the electrical rebuilds over in the Pentagon, and they had to be off site. He explained all about it, what they had to go through, the vetting process and everything. He said absolutely a plane did not hit that building without beyond a shadow of a doubt. And he was on the ground from when it first happened. He said there was no remnants of a plane whatsoever. So that's coming from somebody. I'm going to go based off of somebody who, proved in a sense that they were there and they were working on this. Like, this is somebody I know of that was for a fact. I didn't put out his name or who he was, but I know for a fact that he was in on those government contracts at the time, and he was there rebuilding the Pentagon. So coming from somebody that was on the ground since day one, he said flat out that there was no plane that hit that building.
Yeah, and a bunch of engineers said that the tower wouldn't have fell that way like it did. And then remember that they want us to forget all this stuff, guys. And then they scrub the whole internet off when the Patriot movement comes out. And I'm a pro-life conservative, but still, that shit is a psyop. Stay on the couch, trust the plan. That's what they want you to do as they're surrounding us with 5G, rolling out their AI control system. No, I ain't trusting none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trusting none of that shit. But they roll out the Patriot Act and all that. I mean, you just got to pay attention.
That's how you know an effective psyop is when there's slogans rolling around. Stay home, save lives. Trust the plan, new normal. They're just all these slogans being thrown around. That's how you know you are in a successful psyop.
Yeah, they're good, man. You can't deny it that these people are good at psychological warfare. Well, shit, look at who ran their psychological warfare department forever. Michael Aquino. who
Oh
he,
yeah.
speaking of the Church of Satan, today is their anniversary that Anton LaVey created the Church of Satan. Then he kind of preached that we don't believe in Satan. We don't believe in God or Satan. We just worship man's primal instinct and all this bullshit. And then so Aquino's like, well, no, I really believe in an entity, and I'm gonna start the Church of Set. And he's a high-ranking general or captain, some shit in the army that ran the whole psychological warfare department.
Well, here's the thing is people don't realize, and because here's what it is you have people who believe in Republicans and Democrats, right? But then when you get high up enough to see the world for what it is, you realize it's all a scam. It's all people, like George Carlin said. He said, you really think that you pick who your leaders are? I mean, you're crazy to believe that. It's all a big club that they're in. But here's the thing is what people don't find, like I've told this to people that are Trump supporters and they just don't want to listen. MAGA is the highest order in the Church of Satan.
Yep.
MAGA in Latin means witch. Do they think
Magus.
that's a coincidence?
No, it's called the Magus, which
Yeah,
is
the
also
Yep.
pronounced mega. Yeah, that's a fact. And,
Yep.
and this whole thing, Trump represents the same archetype. And I'm not whatever. If you like Trump, okay, cool. I don't care. I don't like Trump, Biden, Democrat, Republican. I don't like none of them. When
I think it's ignorant to believe any billionaires out there to help us. We got to really use our brains to think that. You have to understand now. From this, I can tell people for a fact. Okay, when you climb levels, okay, I've climbed them in business on the business side. You have to play by the rules when you do it. Anybody that says different has not been to the certain parties they invite you to. You haven't been around these people. I've been around billionaires. Now, to be around a millionaire versus a billionaire, the mindset is completely different. It'll blow your mind if you've ever been around and sat down and broke bread with a billionaire. Their mindset is completely different. They're on such a lot of them power trips, it would blow your mind. That and if people really want to look into it and see what these people study, because even Trump, he spoke on Joe Rogan. He said about the weave. Go look into what the weaving is. Okay.
Yep.
In magic, okay, these people are magicians, okay, they're magi, like he said, they study, and he said it right on Joe Rogan. He said, I work the weave. He knows what that means, and a lot of people don't understand what that means. These people, that's why you see people obsessing over rock stars, obsessing over him, obsessing over all these people. They're literally casting spells on people that are willingly allowing the spells to be casted on them. It's magic.
Yep.
Period.
It is 100. You're 100% on point with that. And Trump's good at it. That's why he moves his hands the way he does. He's really good at that shit, putting people under hypnosis. And look, I know how to do it. Once you learn, you got to know how to do it because that's the only way to fight back. But it's just, again, what's your intent? When I'm using it, I'm going to use it to teach, to educate, to help break the spell that they use to cast on you. I'm not going to use it to program you or use some negative shit on you. I would never do that.
Because you can recognize what's coming. Like some people say, you'll see somebody say like, oh, can I pray for you? And they want to put a hand. Don't let nobody ever put a hand on you. If it's somebody you don't know, don't ever let somebody place hands on you. I don't care. If they come look at the poltergeist, the old guy that tried to get into the house. See, you have to understand how evil works. They have to play by a set of rules. These demonic entities have to play by a set of rules. The vampires got to be invited in. If you in all the movies, you notice that. If you watch, like in the Poltergeist, if you watch, I think it was part 2, that old man that was evil and he was looking like a reverend, like an old reverend. He was saying there's an Indian here. That was letting them know about what they were going through spiritually. That Indian guy. And in the movie, he said, just let me in the house. And they went, and the guy wouldn't let him in the house. And then that's when he started screaming, you're all going to die, because he wanted the demons and these entities need your permission. So by you don't understand. You don't want to grant these things permission to work in your life.
No, you're 100% right. Once you give them that permission, it's over with. And look, man, people have misled me so much. One thing that's never misled me is the numbers. And like I said, that's like God's divine math, right? And look at Trump's numbers, guys. Perfectly overlapping with Nebuchadnezzar. So, and we all know who Nebuchadnezzar was. And people worship Trump. I mean, they worship
They
him.
worship him. I mean, if people can't see, it's like he'll do it every time, and people can't see past this. He literally put himself as Jesus Christ with and he said he was a doctor, and people believe that. Like that blew my mind. It's like he literally told you, a lot of you guys, that, and you believed it. We all know who he was saying he was. He's sitting there placing hands on people to heal them.
Yep.
And I'm like, and then people still like, oh, no. He was right. He was a Red Cross worker, or he was a doctor. Well, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like that's when you know that the magic, the propaganda, all that type of stuff is working. Because and here's, like you said, speak fact of what is just fact, what people can look into. Go read books like The Prince by Machiavelli. Go read books like The Laws of Power. Go read The Art of War. Go read these books, and you will see how rulers rule. And when you read them, you're going to watch the news and these politicians say, oh, wow, look, they're actually doing that.
Yep.
If you study how rulers rule, you'll see it all over the place. You'll start to see this whole matrix for what it is.
Mm-hmm. And ain't it interesting that his base is all the Christians, and they're worshiping him as the God? They're like the Trump. They got the whole Trump prophecy, and it is, Stephen. It's idolatry. It's idol worship. You ain't supposed to worship no man as a God. Even when people tell me, "Oh, Tommy, don't look up to me. You know, I'm just a normal human being like you. I'm just out here trying to spread the truth and do my best." To work for the light and not the darkness. Now, am I right all the time? Absolutely not. I'm a human. I make mistakes. We all do. But yeah, man. And look, I'm not attacking Trump, guys. So if you're a supporter of him, that's cool. But I just don't trust none of them.
I don't trust man in general. And see, that's what I hate about it. Like, if you say anything about, I mean, I'll say it about the Democrats, because all the symbolism is in both parties.
Yep.
And when you've been backstage around these people, you'll watch them like a wrestling match. They'll wreck each other on stage, go backstage and be having drinks and slapping each other on the back. When you've seen that with your own two eyes, you can see the fixes in. You can see that they're all playing you. That's what I believe. That's what I know. Is
Oh, no, that's a fact.
You're being played. Once you realize you're being played, you'll realize there is no Republican, there is no Democrat. These people, like JFK, he was somebody that was really trying to stay out of Vietnam, was trying to do a whole bunch of things that would have benefited us. He tried to dismantle the three-letter agency that starts with a C. He tried to take away the military-industrial complex. He tried to do away with the Fed. And what happened to him? And notice the shot was taken at the apex of the pyramid, of the triangle, right when he was up at the top of Daley Plaza. It wasn't when Oswald would have had the best shot. It happened at the top of that pyramid because it was all ritualistic. And then what was it? It was 11/23. So it was the 11th month. And then they had to throw that number 23 in there.
11/22 is when they killed him.
Or 11/22. So see, it's the master numbers.
Yep, 11 plus 22 equals 33, which encompass all master numbers. And his whole ritual is tied to number 33. And the art of war was created by Sun Tzu. So just think of some of these strategies they have, guys. And once you understand them, this is what they're running on you. Know your enemy. Half of the victory lies in understanding your opponent. Study the strategies and weaknesses. Know yourself. That's one of the most important ones.
The Art of War is not a long book either. If you guys don't know it, get it and read it. It's a very short book. That sits on my shelf always.
Very important one, because even Trump said he read the whole Art of War and he uses it. I've read it. I use it. Because you got to know how to fight back. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, it's like this. How are you going to play the game of life when you don't even understand the rules?
Exactly. So that's really what it is. It's like you have a board game without the pamphlet that comes with it to tell you how to play the game. So you're just going ahead and playing the game however you're playing it without really knowing the rule book. Reading these books and knowing this information is simply just having that rule book and studying it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, bro. And the whole Democrat Republican, that's why teams work. You know, why uh football
They're
teams.
keeping us separated based on that. But this is what it really is, okay? People are so afraid of the billionaires and all the elites and whatever. They are terrified of you. What they're terrified of is everybody uniting under one universal idea, even if that's like, hey, we're all getting screwed and we're sick of paying taxes or whatever it is. If everybody unites under one common ground, it's over with. And that's what they don't want. So the way they can do that is by, getting now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I don't want to, rag on anybody or anything, but you can't tell me that there ain't people on the left that's complete lunatics. Like
Oh yeah.
there's people on both sides, I believe, that the lunacy goes so far you can't talk them out of it. But I mean, whether you're, even somewhat of a Democrat that can be reasoned with, or a Republican that can be reasoned with, you have to understand that this is all just a big theatrical play they're putting on for you guys to keep everybody separated on two sides.
Yep. Divide and conquer, order out of chaos. The red and blue, Crips and Bloods. They do the same. They created that shit too. You look into the gangs, it's all occult symbolism. And I
Yep.
grew up in the street, so trust me, I know. And I got away from that shit because once I realized what it was, I'm like, oh man, this is all a hustle too. It's the same thing as Democrat Republican.
I mean, even look at the motorcycle gangs. You got Hell's Angels, you got outlaws that use skulls. They all use skull imagery. You got the pagans. I mean, it's all these big groups you see. They're all it's all about what we had said, fraternal brotherhoods. These are all brotherhoods that they're all a part of. That's why you see, for example, they showed the lineup of JD Vance, of everybody that's with Trump now, from Rubio to all of them, hated his guts. They said we can't stand him and everything. And Trump wasn't even that radical back then. He got more radical later, and they hated him back then. Then all of a sudden, they're all buddies with him. The same thing happened with Bush and Reagan. Bush hated Reagan, Reagan hated Bush. Then they ended up becoming president and vice president together. And then what they said was, because Bush used to be the head of that three-letter C agency back during the Kennedy days, he was supposed to get in quicker, because that's why they tried to take out Reagan. When Hinckley did that against Reagan, they were trying to get Bush in sooner. So if you notice it, from JFK to Lyndon Johnson, both hated each other. They ended up putting them together. Bush and Reagan put them together. JD Vance hated, he said he was a never Trump guy. Now he's right in there with Trump. These people are all playing right in front of your face.
Yeah, it's all a big game, man. It's all a big show, And Trump really represents the Reagan archetype because his whole thing, make America great again. Reagan started that shit. Trump was an actor. He was on what was that show where he's like, you're fired, remember?
The Apprentice.
The Apprentice. He was an actor. Reagan was an actor. They're literally the same archetype. And if you don't know what an archetype is, research it, because that's what they have different archetypes on the world stage. And a lot of these people, I really think this with all my heart, Ellis. I think they play multiple different characters, bro.
Oh, yeah. No, and I've looked into that, and I would not be surprised. Like, if there's people playing multiple characters, that's why you hear Trump say central casting. Central casting's real. If you're in production, which like you are, we're in production, we understand how it works. Like, if you understand how a set works, if you understand how production works, if you understand how casting works, if you understand all these things, you need look only at the news, sports, everything around you. It's like Jordan Maxwell, or not Jordan Maxwell, but I mean, he talked about it as well, but it was William Cooper was talking about how like football was the great Roman circus. That's why football is called it's an entertainment. They legally label it as entertainment. so they can't get sued because it's all fake. It's all scripted. Shaq even said, admitted it on a show. He said they were booking hotel rooms for the finals before they even got into the finals because they said they already knew they were getting in. So it's like you're watching a humongous movie. That, I believe, that's my opinion. It's a giant movie you're watching, and they're all playing their role.
Yeah, no, it is, bro. I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more than that. You look into the masks they had back in the 70s that the CIA had, and these, I mean, they could get right up in your face and fool you. So think of the shit they got now with nanotech, bro. They probably got nanotech shit they could spray on and completely change their appearance. You know what I'm saying?
I forget who said it, and I don't know who it was, but it was somebody very famous. They said somebody came and sat down next to him and was playing somebody else, and they were a famous person. And they did it so well, even with the augmentation that they showed in like Mission Impossible, that they have where they can pull it off and it literally augments their voice to sound like whoever they want.
Yeah.
They said the person sat down next to him. They was talking to him the whole time, never knew it until they took it all off and they blew their mind at who they actually were. That it was another famous person playing another famous person, and they never knew the difference.
Yeah, oh, I believe it, bro. Yeah, you see that Mission Impossible, and I mean, a lot of this stuff is artificial intelligence. I think AI is running so much of the mainstream media now. I can tell by the way the articles are written that it's all AI. I don't know if they're firing all their writers or what's going on, man. But
What if they're not even real? What if a lot of the shit we're watching ain't even real because the AI we have looks so real? But imagine, but we can still tell. Like we can look at AI if you use AI enough, even the best AI, I could still tell by the way the mouth is.
yep.
You could still tell by different ways that there's indicators. But if that's what they give to us, imagine what they have.
Oh, they're always at least a minimum, and I'm being conservative here when I say this, 50 years ahead of us in technology. It could be 100, 200 years maybe. So when we're playing with this AI, they're 50 years ahead of that, guys. They got sentient shit. You know what I'm saying?
They
I
probably
mean,
got particles that can turn into like Brad Pitt in front of you. Like
right.
they could just like anything you can, yeah, because they even proved that this is how they throw it right in your face too, okay? Terminator 2, they called it Skynet. There is a Skynet that actually does AI and robotics, and it's called Skynet. So they literally made it, and now if you go look it up, it was in Popular Mechanics or something. They have liquid metal that can literally turn into shapes and move through
Yep.
AI and shit. Like it's crazy. So that watching the liquid metal guy in Terminator 2 saying, man, that's insane. They can never come up with something like that. Well, they're claiming they already have it.
Oh yeah, they really do have a Skynet company. I'm looking. They got a couple of them, different ones. Holy shit.
So isn't that crazy? Like, and it's because, see, I believe that what they're doing is the screenplays are not even okay.
Bro,
Based
they
on
got
Project
satellite.
Mockingbird,
They
based
got
on
a satellite. So a satellite surveillance company too, Skynet. That doesn't sound promising. Now go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
yeah, no, but I was saying based on Project Mockingbird, if people look at the movies like Argo, where the C letter agency was going in to get those people out of Iran, if you look at it, look at Project Mockingbird. The three-letter C agency has been running Hollywood for a very long time, the media and everything, because they know how powerful it is to control what you watch, the media you hear. So you got to think about it. These actors, in a sense, in the movies and all this stuff, they're really agents that are working for this agency. And the way they do it is, so I believe they'll like pick a James Cameron and say, okay, you want to be a movie writer? Here's the script. Make this movie. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're giving them the future that they want, that they know is coming, and they want them to put it on that screen.
What it was called Operation Mockingbird, the one
Yeah,
you're talking.
Operation Mockingbird. That's it.
Yeah, which let me check on my little calculator, guys, over here on truthfultv.com. I'm almost 1,000,000% sure though. Hold on, give me a second. I think that shit equals 322. Speaking of the number 322, hold on one second. Let me see. Let me see real quick. Yep, it sure does. Here, let me show y'all. I knew it. So that's hilarious. And what was Operation Mockingbird? It was to take over all the media. And this is not a conspiracy. Look it up, guys. They got
Yep.
declassified files on this. This was to take over the freaking media. Why is it not sharing my screen? Okay, here we go. Boom.
Yeah, so it's an actual military operation that they even said was carried out by these agencies, intelligence community. It's a proven, operation. So
Yeah,
it's not a conspiracy.
no, it definitely is not. Right there, Operation Mockingbird 322. I mean, ba-boom. You see what I'm saying? Right in our face, the number of skull and bones, guys, coming full circle back to the beginning of the year of sacrifice, which starts on 322. You'll notice they use this number over and over and over again, and they're known as the Brotherhood of Death. That's their whole name, the Skull and Bones, who George Bush was a member of, his dad was a member of, Kerry, what's that dude's name? Damn it. He ran for president once. John Kerry?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a member of it. I mean, they're deep. But
Oh
yes.
yeah. And see, there's certain ones though, like there was a guy they asked, they said, if they told you who really ruled the world, you wouldn't even know the name when they mentioned it to you. Because the real people behind the scenes, you've never seen them. If you have seen them and studied like me and Tommy have, you'd be able to pick out who they are. And that's probably for another episode. But what I'm saying is the real people that run shit, you would never know their names. You wouldn't be able to pick them out of a lineup. So the people they put out there to you, and even the brotherhoods, like you mention Bohemian Grove, or like people know about Bohemian Grove, but mention the Knights of Malta to some of these people and watch. There's one guy, the guy almost wanted to punch him out because he could not speak about it. So like the Knights of Malta is one of them that you never hear about. But there's fraternal orders, like I said, the Brotherhood of the Snake. There's deep old origin brotherhoods that these people are in that you never even have heard of.
Yeah, the Knights of Malta, me and my boy Donut talk about them all the time. That's how you really know someone's controlled opposition. They'll never bring them up, the Knights of Malta. They'll talk about all these other secret societies, but they never mention that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And if you go back to the Knights Templar, that shit, like Freemasonry, they tell us modern day Freemasonry came about in 1717 during the first Mother Lodge in England, but that's not true. If you go, it goes all the way back to the Roman Caligulas or colleges of Rome, and then the Knights Templar, when they got burned at the stake in 1307, which is 137, guys, 1307. 137 is the number in physics that they said nothing could exist without that number. And 137 is the 33rd prime number. If you take the Freemasonic compass, it's 47 by 90 degrees. Add that shit up, equals 137. So the Knights Templar ended up merging into what we know now as modern day Freemasonry. And that's where we get that whole red and blue symbolism. the pillars of Jachin and Boaz, or the York Rite, which is blue, it has 13 degrees, and the Scottish Rite, which is red, which has 33 degrees. Add it together. What do you got? 46. And 46 has to do with your chromosomes. You have 46 chromosomes, 23 from your mom, 23 from your dad. I mean, it's all tied to DNA when it gets down to it. And that gets into the Nephilim, the fallen angels, which want to genetically modify us and turn us into something that we're not. And that's why I'll never merge with this shit, bro.
And see, the scientist that discovered the double helix in the DNA strand, he was actually on LSD when he discovered it.
Was he?
Yeah, they microdosed, or I guess they gave him a decent dose. They dosed a bunch of scientists and put them in a room, and plug it in right there. And that's where he was like tripping, and he came up with the DNA structure, the strand.
Wow. I know when, and then we'll have to end this. I got another one coming up, but I know like when the Twin Towers fell, that whole ritual too kind of symbolized the destruction of the double helix and the rise of third strand DNA, because you had the two towers fall and then the One World Trade Center erected in its place. And the dimensions on that damn thing, when you look, it all equals up to 1776, which comes full circle because tomorrow is Beltane, and that's the date the Illuminati was formed in 1776.
Yep. And then they got Mayday for emergency. And but yeah, definitely, man, it's been great talking to you, and we definitely should get some more stuff going on. Like you were talking about, I seen a few videos with Donut. Like Donut really gets deep into that too with the dates and stuff like that. So maybe we'll get a group chat going with you and Donut. I think that'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, Donut. Shout out to my boy Donut Factory. Go check him out on YouTube, guys. When I first met Donut, he never really got into the numerology, because it goes over people's heads. It's a lot to take in at first. And then when I really started pointing it out to him, what got his attention was the number 128. When I showed him all the connections with that shit, it blew his mind. And now he does decoding in all his videos, which is awesome. It's great to see him grow. He taught me so much stuff that I didn't know either. He's taught me. That's the beautiful thing about what we do. We all can share knowledge with each other and learn from each other. Pretty cool.
Yep. And I think that's the first time I seen him, maybe, was because I've been following your show for a while. Like I've been seeing your stuff for years now. And I think that's one of the first times I seen was a discussion with you and him was a while back.
Yeah, but guys, make sure you go follow my boy, Eyes Open Podcast. He's on Facebook. He does have a YouTube, but most of his stuff he's doing is on his Facebook. Is that right?
Yeah, check me out on Facebook. It's the only page they didn't remove. They've removed from my TikToks to my YouTubes to my Instagram. They banned all of them. So the only original one since day one, when I started in 2019, that's still around is my Facebook. That's where the main hub. That's where I'm at most of the time. And I'm going to start doing more lives on there as well. But yeah, definitely facebook.com/Eyes Open Podcast.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you coming today, and shout out to everyone in the comments. We love y'all. Y'all have an amazing day, and we're out.
All right, I'll catch you.
Truth Mafia Music, this is where the truth begins. Welcome to Tommy Truthful TV, where we break the illusion. Ever felt special or different, caught in confusion? Are you the black sheep in your family line? It's cause you see through the matrix design. We're living in a simulation, AR controlled. Most are NPCs, their stories already told. The Saturn Moon Matrix runs the hive mind, but a rare few of us break through and shine. 169,000 first players awake, reality benders, born to remake. Then there's the Neo Code, rarest of all, like Jesus Christ and Neo, answering the call. The Matrix ain't fiction, it's prophecy shown.